Hello, beautiful people. This is Dr. Dain. Welcome to this installment of the Tour of Consciousness. What a great pleasure it is to be with you. And I want to talk to you today about yuck and stuck and what the you get the idea. You can fill in the blanks on that one. I'm going to give you a real simple process because let's face it, it's so funny as this Corona thing goes on and on and on, and and riots and just stuff. There's just so much. Hold a moment. I'm going to try to change my little light. Okay, maybe that'll be better. Hold on, wait, got to check. I'm checking. Maybe that's better? I don't know. Anyway, with everything that's going on in the world right now, there's a lot of people doing a lot of yuck, and you're aware of a lot of it. But guess what? The weird part is how much of it is yours. Now, I've given this tool, I don't know how many thousands of times in the last 20 years. An old favorite, who does this belong to? Okay. Now, you know this one, hopefully by now. If you don't, I've got an entire playlist devoted to who does this belong to on YouTube. Go there, check it out, okay? YouTube.com/Dr. Dain Heer, and then look it up. Who does this belong to? And so I'm not going to cover that right now, but recognize it's in the air, kids. It's being broadcast all the time. You're like a tuning fork, and it's going, and you're picking it up and vibrating like it. But I want to give you another process, really simple to run. And it's based on the awareness that you are an infinite being. What does that mean? On a practical level, you don't really have any yuck. I know that sounds weird because everybody's aligning and agreeing that everybody has a lot of yuck right now. But what if you didn't have to? What if you could be the neon sheep in the herd and be that different? So, here's the process. What yuck am I inventing? And you're like, inventing? Oh, it's real for me, Dr. Dain, it's real. Well, maybe. And you can keep keeping it as real as long as you want. Believe me, I've invented my fair share of yuck. Oh, goodness. But when I got this process, I was like, wow. Okay, so here it is. Sorry, ADHD. Whoo, big time. What yuck are you inventing to create the human reality you are choosing? Everything that is right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay, you can act human, which is all the little cream-colored sheeps that will run off the cliff if another sheep does it. Or you could be the neon sheep, which is the humanoid, which is the weirdo in the crowd, which is the one who's like, why are y'all over there creating yuck? Oh, that's what we do. Yuck, yuck, yuck. And sorry if my camera goes out of focus. I'm working a few angles here on the sweet little camera. So, what yuck are you inventing? Inventing. Can you believe it? I know some of you are like this to me right now, and I totally understand. I get it. Because when you're in the middle of yuck, the last thing you want to hear, well, actually, if you're finally at that place where you're ready to get out of it, probably the first thing you want to hear is, oh my God, I'm inventing it, which means the gift of you knowing you're inventing it, which I know a lot of you are still sort of like, I'm not sure I'm with you on this one, Dr. Dain, and I totally get that. That's okay, okay? But you get to a certain point where you're like, this is not fun anymore. If you're at that point, this is really a great conversation to hear. If you're still at the point where, no, it's all real and it's all happening to me and I'm going to pretend it's happening to me forever, and well, this may not be the conversation you want to hear just yet, but it'll still hopefully stick in your world for a later time when you're ready. And then you'll be searching on your computer, where was that yuck video? I'm finally ready to hear what he had to say. I had to create it. I had to create yuck for 6 months over and over and over and keep trying to pretend it was real, but I never was able to get out of it. And so now I'm finally willing to realize that I've been inventing it. So what yuck are you inventing to create the human reality you were choosing? Everything that is where you destroy and uncreate it, please. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. What yuck are you inventing to create the reality of yuck you were choosing? Everything that is times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Really simple processes. And then the other thing, I think we'll talk about this other thing on another video, because let's not pollute the concept right now, because if I can get you to even just start running this process, what'll happen is you'll start creating less yuck. And it's a weird thing to think that you're inventing it. It was a weird thing. And the way I came up with this process is because I was inventing yuck. I went and I talked to my friend Gary, and he basically was talking to me about it. And I'm like, no, it's real. No, it's not. And we didn't get to anything that got lighter. One of the things we always know is what's true always makes you lighter. And so finally, I went away from the conversation, still holding on to my yuck. And then I woke up the next morning going, oh my God, I'm doing something to create this. This is working for me somehow. It makes me feel closer to people who have trauma and drama. It makes me feel closer to reality as most people see it. So I don't feel like such a neon sheep, such a weirdo, such an outlier from the middle of the bell curve, so to speak, okay? So everything you have in your world, all the energies you've locked in and all that stuff about not wanting to be the outlier, not wanting to be the neon sheep, not wanting to be the different one that is so different that you don't have a problem when everybody else does and you don't have yuck when everybody else does. Will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. This is actually a choice we have available now, my friends, is actually not to have yuck when other people do. May not have ever been available before, but I'm telling you, as of the last few months, it's now available. And once again, what's true makes you lighter, a lie makes you heavier. If it makes you lighter, then go forth and be yuck free, or at least less yucky, or less yuck, less stuck, less what the. So there you go. There's my conversation for today. Oh, the other thing is, I wanted to make this video because I just did an audio. A lot of you know I have this series, this thing called You Got This. It's available on Kajabi. It's really easy. All you do is download the app and then find what audios you want, and then they're right there on your phone with you. Yay! How does it get any better than that? And I just did one on getting over yuck. And I thought, you know what? Even if you don't go there and get that, although I really highly suggest it because there's this backstory behind it that I found that I was like, oh my God, this is why we create it. We create it so we're not the extrapolators and the different people that we actually are. Instead, we try to triangulate from 2 points of awareness or 2 points of conclusion into a third point of how we can conclude our future. But if the future is not defined yet, and if the future is actually an open space of possibilities, you can't confine it to a point, and then you get stuck because your old system for triangulating doesn't actually work. And then we create yuck so we can solidify, so we can slow down, so we can figure everything out. Once we figure everything out, we finally figured out all the yuck that could occur, so now we can move forward. That paradigm doesn't really work very well anymore. So everywhere you've been doing that, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Times a gazillion, right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Okay, my beautiful friends, remember, what yuck am I inventing to create the yucky reality or the human reality I'm choosing? Everything that is right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. As I love to say, what if you truly being you are the gift, the change, and the possibility this world requires? And I truly cannot wait to meet you in person someday. Can we ask for more of that, please? Where we can actually travel again and see each other and give each other hugs in person and all that sort of stuff instead of looking like the friggin' Brady Bunch on Zoom? Okay, see you soon. Mwah! Bye-bye!